Bill Lauritzen is our speaker today on the topic of artificial intelligence, how it can be used as a tool for creativity.
Thank you. Why do my knees feel weak? It's good to be here. This is actually a big crowd. I can say that because one time I gave a talk at the Pasadena Civic Auditorium. They let me use the place for free as long as I didn't sell anything. And it was a pretty big auditorium, and 4 people showed up, and they were all my friends. So thank you. So anyway, yeah, my talk is on artificial intelligence, and I'm going to start with a poem that was written by artificial intelligence, completely written by artificial intelligence. I just gave it a biography, a short paragraph biography, and I added 1 line of my own. And this is a poem about our Reverend Sarah, who is not here today. So I wanted to kind of do this to show you what AI could do. And also I want to mention that Sarah helped me with a personal crisis I had several months ago. And she gave me some counseling, which really helped me get through that crisis. So in her biography that I put in there, it mentions that she was raised in Iowa, and then she moved to Boston to be a medical anthropologist before she came here to the Carbondale Unitarian Fellowship. So here's the poem. It's 6 stanzas. Okay. In the heartland's cradle, young Sarah found her way, Unitarian seeds in Iowa's fertile clay. Ames was her harbor, her soul's nascent dawn, the echo of a calling, a destiny drawn. In Boston, she thrived, her knowledge expanding, medical anthropology, her intellect commanding. Yet the pull of the pulpit, the urge to lead, brought her to Carbondale to tend a different seed. In the fellowship's embrace in 2014, she started her journey with a vision so keen to foster spiritual growth, to seek justice and truth. She stepped into her calling with the vigor of youth. Preacher, pastor, and guide with a heart open wide, sharing her path with those by her side. In crisis and joy, through the everyday strife, she gives of herself, offering life. In covenant groups, she leads with grace, creating a space of trust, a sacred place, a voice for the fellowship in community's song, co-president of Interfaith, where all belong. Reverend Sarah Richards of Passion and Peace, your journey continues, your influence won't cease. Through every twist and turn, you've been a beacon of light in Carbondale's fellowship, shining bright. So, not bad for a machine, right? Anyway, artificial intelligence, a tool for creativity. I originally was really happy to do this because this is a subject I'm very interested in. I have about 10 years background teaching mathematics, as well as 5 years teaching psychology. So originally I was going to do some live demos of AI, but I realized that would take a lot of time, and I didn't want to make this too long. So then I wrote an essay, 4,000 words. I realized that was too long. So Catherine helped me to pare that down to 2,000 words. So I have it here. I'm going to use it as a guide. So creativity, we're talking about creativity. So creativity requires knowledge. Many tools have contributed to the spread of human knowledge: writing, the printing press, radio and TV, and computers. Before any of these tools existed, the only way to gain knowledge was from one's tribe. Knowledge that wasn't transmitted orally could be lost. Today, a doctor in the USA can develop a successful new technique that can be used the same day by a doctor in India or Japan. With our smartphones, we have become part of a global nervous system. More recently, a new tool has emerged and is evolving rapidly. Artificial intelligence has seen successful implementation in a multitude of sectors. For example, search engines, fraud detection, and medical diagnosis, etc. When I moved to China in 2010, the AI translation was only 60% effective, 60% accurate. But today it is about 99% accurate. How is this possible? On February 8th of this year, the GPT-4, the fourth version of GPT, surprised most everyone by attracting 1 million users in less than a week. How close is it to human level intelligence? Well, it has scored 93% on the SAT, passed more than a dozen high school advanced placement exams, and passed the bar exam of California, which is one of the toughest bar exams. So what is GPT-4? This is the one that you've seen in the news lately, if you've been paying attention to the news on this. It is what's called a large language model. And large language models are artificial neural networks, similar to our biological neural networks in our brain. So it's based on human brain. But they are similar only in a way that an airplane is similar to an eagle. They both use the same principles, but they don't function the same. So GPT, what does that stand for? Generative Pre-trained Transformer. G, generative, it means it generates text. P, it was pre-trained. And T, it's a type of neural network called a transformer. So how is it trained? I'm going to oversimplify that because I don't want to put too many people to sleep. I only see 2 people sleeping right now. So how is it trained? Basically very simple. When given a small sequence of text, it was told to predict the next best word, the next best applicable word. And then based on whether it was right or wrong in its prediction, it adjusted its model. It adjusted its model of the human language patterns. Okay. Now it did this repetitively through lots and lots of text, correcting itself, correcting its model of human language patterns until it gave useful responses to researchers' questions. So from this simple process, scientists were quite surprised at what emerged. What emerged was the ability to write some not so bad essays, some not so bad poems, not so bad research papers, as well as the ability to carry out simple conversations. So the scientists trained it again on trillions of web pages of text at an estimated cost of over $100 million. At which point they found that it could write grammatically perfect essays poems, as I just read to you, and research papers, as well as carry on lengthy conversations. This was not what they expected. It was a surprising emergence. Then it was given human feedback training with the goal that it would learn to give responses that were helpful and accurate, and not give responses that were false, biased, and hateful. So GPT does have some guardrails, but they are not perfect, just like us. We're not perfect either. Its responses, at least at present, are not usually very innovative or creative. Sometimes they are. But for me and many others, it can jumpstart the creative process and refresh our memory of past events and people. So GPT became my personal writing assistant to be used along with fact-checking. I want to emphasize that when you begin a conversation, these models don't go to a specific website like Google or give you a list of websites. Instead, they consult their pre-trained model of language patterns, which gives you a response. It is kind of a black box, but our brain is also still a black box. We don't know exactly how it works. If the AI doesn't give you a response you want, you can describe what you want in more detail. You can also tell it if it made a factual error, and it will often apologize and try to correct it. So correct itself. So I think I'm going to skip this next paragraph. Here are some examples of how I have used it or how it could be used. In the past couple of weeks, one of my Chinese students translated a long Chinese article into English. We probably spent about 15 person hours on this. GPT-4 translated the article in less than 2 minutes. It made a few minor errors, but we also learned several better phrases and words that we could use. With my children's book, Tommy Turtle, how many of you have read it? Nobody. I entered each chapter and asked it to write some guiding questions. This it did immediately and expertly. I have also used GPT-4 in writing a series of 3 short stories entitled Adventures of the Metaphysical Detective. So it was very helpful in that. That's a detective from the 1940s he's hired by somebody to find the meaning of life and to find proof of the existence of God. And what's the third one? Oh, to find if karma exists. So I asked it to give me some slang words used by detectives in the 1940s, and it gave me a long list. So that was very helpful. Some other prompts. A prompt is what you give to the AI. And people are talking about it's very important to get the prompt right. But what I found, as long as you continue the conversation, you can correct it if it doesn't understand you. So other prompts I've used: write a short story about a biology student at SIU in which she begins to question the Bible. Online, she learns about Unitarian Universalism. Another prompt I've been trying to get it to do it right: create a fictional dialogue between Ben Franklin and Donald Trump. Yeah, try that one. Make a detailed plan for ending gun violence in the United States. It actually does a great job with that. And other things you can do, you can ask it to put, let's say you ask it to write an essay. You can ask it to put the essay in the style of Shakespeare. put the essay in the style of the King James Bible. Put this essay into the style of Dr. Seuss. And then when I asked it, it listed 50 possible styles that it could put it into. You can also ask it to put it in a certain tone. For example, put it in a playful tone, a sarcastic tone, an informative tone. It listed 75 possible tones that it could help you with. You can put it at a certain level. You can say, make this essay appropriate for a 5th grader, a kindergartner, a university professor, a dyslexic reader, etc. And it will change its language because it knows the language patterns of humans quite well after, reading trillions of web pages. Okay. Now let's talk about superintelligence. If you ask GPT-4, it will tell you that it is not conscious, that it is simply learning patterns in the data in which it has been trained or on in order to make predictions. Yet that is what humans also do. Science could be described as learning the patterns of nature in order to make predictions. Also, it is important to note that scientists and philosophers have not been able to successfully agree upon the definition of consciousness. That's a hard problem. We might soon have millions of robotic AIs at the PhD level in their field. They could do scientific and medical research on ending disease, extending human life, deliver personal tutoring on any subject to anyone, anywhere, and offer innovative solutions to climate change, poverty, resource allocation, etc. Human level AI by 2029. That's only 5-6 years away. Right now, we have these large language models, totally based on language. In the future, we could develop large image models. This may add the ability of the AI to think with images, which in my experience can be much more creative than thinking with language alone. That takes more processing power than we currently have with our computers, but not for long. After that, we could develop large video models. So large language models is what we have now, then large image models, then large video models, which would give AI a good sense of the world and 3D space. So I think if we combined all 3 of these, we would have superintelligence. Of course, superintelligence means intelligence far beyond what we have. Maybe comparing us to a squirrel would be like the superintelligence to us. That's what some people are predicting. So there are 4 possible outcomes that have been discussed. Number 1, machines will continue to work as our digital assistants. Fairly benign outcome. Number 2, machines will be so smart they will work independently and ignore us. Well, that's not too bad. Number 3, machines will terminate us and replace us. That's the dystopian version. One said, the AI does not hate you, nor does it love you, but you are made out of atoms, which can use for something else. But there is a positive spin to that, that some people have mentioned, and that is this. Humans may just be a stepping stone for the evolution of intelligence. In other words, we're here to create creatures that can have more intelligence than us. Our intelligence is is limited. Our brain size is limited because, you know, our brains got bigger over 2 million years. Our brains got bigger over 2 million years. But at some point, if the brain got any bigger, it couldn't fit through the woman's pelvis, and it would kill them up. So we may be sort of an endpoint for evolution as far as intelligence, but computers don't have that limitation. So this is a bit scary. Number 3 is a bit scary. So what have people done? They've come up with a solution to number 3, which is number 4. We will merge with machines. Ray Kurzweil thinks that humans and machines will merge by way of technologies like brain implants. And he notes that many humans have already merged with their smartphones. See, I've got mine with me. I don't sleep with it. But I know some people probably have it next to their bed. I don't have it next to my bed. So Elon Musk, trying to solve number 3, started a company in 2013 called Neuralink. In 2021, this company put very thin electron threads into the brain of a monkey, allowing the monkey to wirelessly play the video game Pong. Do you guys remember the game Pong, where you go and the ball goes back and forth? Did any of you play that? Oh yeah, good. Okay. Anyway, they have a monkey playing that just with his brain, you know. So as of this last Thursday, May 25th, this company that Elon Musk started has gotten approval from the FDA to start human trials for neurological disabilities. So their ultimate goal, though, is to create a system which would allow the development of a symbiotic relationship between humans and AI. So instead of AI taking over the world and killing us all, they're trying to say, well, wait, maybe we could just merge with them like we already kind of are to some degree. So Ray Kurzweil thinks that human identity will one day just be patterns of information on silicon or other non-biological substrates. He believes we'll be able to upload our minds to a computer, and thus humans will essentially be immortal. Okay. Artificial intelligence raises some questions. Now I'm going to get into some of the questions, which I don't have answers for, and I don't think anybody else does, but there are questions about job loss, social manipulation, biases, deep fakes, social economic inequality, social surveillance, weapons automation, factual errors, cheating. However, I think all of these questions have existed throughout human history. Now, here's another question. If your mind was transferred to a machine or robot, what does that mean for personal identity? Could there be 2 of you or 3 of you? Would we have to pass a law that there could only be 1 of you at a time? Okay, let's take me as an example for being a robot. Well, right now I have a titanium rod in my left hip from a total hip replacement. Now, if I continued to replace parts as they aged, part by part, at what point do I stop being human and become something else? Yeah. What if machines claim to be conscious? What rights should they have? Do we have a right to turn them off? Question, of course, about free will. Do we have free will? Like many scientists believe, we are just a very complex machine. And also, if we can upload our minds to machines or achieve some other form of immortality, how does that affect our understanding of life, death, God, souls, and the afterlife? So in conclusion, I wrote a one-line poem, not written by AI. Here it is. A knife is a tool. and a knife can end a life or save a life. But can a knife come to life? That's something to think about. And thank you very much. If any have questions, I think we have time for a couple. Okay. She's gonna have the mic. If you don't have any questions, that's fine. But if you want to ask a public, oh, here comes somebody. All right.
Wait.
We want to get you on record.
I thought my mouth was big enough that everybody can hear me back there. I just read like a couple days ago that in like 5 to 10 years that our wars will be fought by artificial intelligence and not people. Is that true?
That's been discussed for a long time. Actually, there's been science fiction writers who've written about that, I think as far as the 1970s or 80s, of wars being fought by robots, basically. And there's two possibilities. You could have the robot being controlled by a human back in the United States, which is essentially what drones are. Or you could have the robot having, more autonomy, where the robot has to decide if you're an enemy or not. So that is a possibility. It's kind of scary though, if the robot decided he didn't want to take orders anymore or something like that. Thank you. That was a good question. There's another one.
This is Mary Campbell. Yes, on the news this weekend, there was something about a picture that had been gone up and nobody knew what it was, but the stock market really fell. And I mean, that it made you wonder when you were talking about being able to get stuff up and manipulate is. So that concerned me is because if anybody had any real knowledge about how to use AI, they could put all kinds of stuff up.
Let me address that. Yeah, I did see that news article. The Dow dropped suddenly 30 points and then went back up when they found out it was a fake chart or something like that. I forget exactly what the picture was. Oh, right. It was a picture of the Pentagon on fire. They put this picture up and people thought, oh, the Pentagon's been attacked, and the Dow dropped, not a big drop, but it dropped suddenly. And then people figured out it was a fake. But as AIs get better, counter AIs will also get better. So there'll be like a, what do you call that? Evolutionary, they call it evolutionary arms race between the AI, the bad AIs and the good AIs. So yeah, some of the people had questions over here.
This is Jerry Malumbi.
Will the responses be conservative or liberal?
That's an excellent question. And one researcher, scientist, a computer scientist, PhD scientist, did some studies of GPT-3, which is the earlier version than we have now. And he found that it had very strong left-leaning biases. So yeah, she wants the class. Yeah, left-leaning biases. It was in favor of gun control. There were some other things like that. Healthcare. It was in favor of universal healthcare, and it was giving poor comments about Donald Trump. So I think he published this article, and then for GPT-4, they tried to make it more neutral. So it'll now say, well, as a artificial intelligence, I cannot take a stand on, political questions, but I will point out these facts, something like that. So they're trying to make it less biased. But there is a danger that somebody could create another AI that is strongly right-leaning. That could be done. So this is going to be a perpetual problem for humanity. I mean, we've had these problems before, as I said, with I think I'll end on this.
Bill, we still have a couple more questions.
Yeah. Social manipulation has been around before, job loss. And then I was thinking about deep fakes, and I thought, well, there's been no deep fakes in history. We didn't have images, we didn't have videos. But then I thought, well, a deep fake could be somebody writing an article in the style of some other politician and signing it with the other politician's name. And, you know, so that could have happened. So I think we've had these problems before. The biggest problem I see is that AI would kill us all. Would kill us all. Okay.
We've got one more in the,
one more
or two more
question.
in the sanctuary and two online.
Oh, we have some online questions. Okay.
Gilletta, do you want to let the person on one of them go first? Oh, okay. Or do you want to? Okay.
Hi, is there concern about this staying a public good as opposed to a private good? And like, I mean, you're describing things where it's gonna just take over completely, but I'm
Okay.
sort of concerned by the, public-private kind of use.
Yeah, that's a good question. And as a capitalist country in general, we are tending to let Google fight it out with OpenAI, which is this new company, and which will fight it out with Microsoft. And that's kind of the approach that the United States generally takes. But what they're trying to do is look at regulating it, just like we have the FDA regulates food, we have the FAA regulates aircraft. We may need a government body to regulate AI so that it doesn't become, out of control. The dystopian view is that somebody will tell the AI to make paper clips and do everything you can to make as many paper clips as you can cheaply. And the AI will take that to mean, okay, I'm gonna convert all the atoms of the earth to paper clips. It doesn't understand what we meant when we told it to just make paper clips. So that's been an issue. But yeah, Congress had a hearing, I think it was this week or last week, where they brought in 3 top AI researchers and they grilled them about what they thought we should do. And the net result may be that we will have a government regulating body. Okay. Another question?
Yes, hi. When we call our banker, our broker, our insurance company, whoever these days, the first line of communication is with the robot, and they will answer preliminary questions. And if it gets too difficult, they transfer you over to a human. Are we going to get to the point where they're going to be able to handle a very complicated inquiry about things of that nature and never turn it over to a human being?
Yeah, that is possible. That's a good question. That is possible. And that's what I was talking about when I said by 2029, we may have human level AI. So you may get on the phone with somebody in 2029 and they will be able to answer as if it were a human.
Okay, we have a couple online. TK Kelly asked if anyone anticipates pre-recorded memories uploaded to a brain could help treat dementia.
Yeah, that sounds like a good temporary solution for dementia. I think, somebody could, what happened, and they could tap into that recording and then remember it. But in the long term, AI may be able to help us to solve the biochemical causes of dementia in the brain. So I would look forward to that.
And the other one, Terry and Lori want to know, how does AI decipher truth?
How do philosophers decipher truth? You know, that's a deep question. And let me see if I can answer that centuries age old question in a minute. I guess what she means is maybe getting information from trusted news sources at this point. There is some for ChatGPT-4. By the way, ChatGPT-4 this week you can get as an app on your Android phone or your Apple phone. It's now available as an app if you want to try it out. Make sure you get the official version because there's several, and one will say this is the official one. So that's the one you want to get. But I think, you can ask it to give me news results from trusted news sources, and it'll do that once you get to know how to do it. I'm not going to go into details about that. Is that it? All right. Thank you very much.